guys, Jack here, and before we get started, I just want to give a major thank you and a few shoutouts to a few people who helped make this episode possible. First, as always, a major thank you to all of our sponsors on Patreon. If you guys want to help support the channel, just $1 or more will get you early access to all of our content as well as other special features. And a major thank you to the cast and crew of the DiC dub of Sailor Moon, who actually helped give us some information on making this episode possible. Those including Susan Roman, Katie Griffin, Toby Proctor, Linda Ballantine, and the always incredible Ronald Perlman, whose book Sailor Moon Reflections actually helped in research on this episode. Okay, enough chit chat for me. Sit back and enjoy the show, and as Sailor Moon would say, stick right there, and I'll show you. The following is a fan-based video review under fair use. Sailor Moon is owned by Toei Animation, Viz Media, Warner Brothers Entertainment, DiC Entertainment, Cloverway, Fuji TV, and Naoko Takeuchi. Please support the official release. What's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome to another review. And today, I gotta make a confession. I love this show. Airing in 1992 in Japan and later in 1995 on YTV and then eventually Toonami in the United States, Sailor Moon for almost 30 years has become a pop culture phenomenon. Created by Naoko Takeuchi, first as a manga adaptation, the original series spans almost 200 episodes, 3 movies, and a reboot series known as Sailor Moon Crystal, not to mention an upcoming new movie to celebrate the franchise's 30th anniversary. And trust me everybody, I was there in 1995 as a young little wee boy when the show first aired. At the time, I was obviously more into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which by the way, did you know that Saban tried to obtain the rights to the show to create a She-Ra-esque knockoff without using any footage from the original series? If you want an in-depth look at this what-if Sailor Moon, go check out Bradley Dunn's Lost Media Junkie episode on it. But it was my sister who actually was into the show, and when you're a young boy in the 90s having been forced to watch this shit, you're like, a girl show? Ugh. But as I sat down and watched it as a young kid, I was thoroughly impressed by it. In fact, I had to be kind of a closet fan at the time. Again, as a boy in the 90s, you couldn't admit to liking a show like this. And as a kid, my sister had a ton of merchandise, from cards, posters, dolls. I even remember a winter festival where they had a Sailor Moon live show. Hell, there's a Sailor Moon ride at Universal Studios Japan. I'm not making that up. Take a look.
信じればどんなピンチも乗り越えられる。さあ、私と一緒に全ての乙女を立ち上がれ。ユニバーサル・スタジオ・ジャパンセーラームーン・ザ・ミラクル 4D。
Where the fuck was this when I was a kid? But the main reason I enjoy it is mostly for its characters. And granted, there's tons of characters in this show, and each season has a pretty interesting storyline going for it. From ancient space kingdoms, time travel, outer worlds, and the monster of the week, with our Sailor Scouts fighting evil by moonlight and winning love by daylight. Now, while everyone enjoys the main title character, Sailor Moon, I was more of a Sailor Jupiter fan. I don't care what you guys say about Sailor Mars and Sailor Mercury being the best back then. Sailor Jupiter, Sailor Venus, and Sailor Neptune were my fucking jam! And there's no denying that the show did take a lot of influence elements from the likes of Super Sentai, Superman, and even Sabrina the Teenage Witch with the cat characters Luna and Artemis. Not to mention, this show was essentially my introduction to anime, and without it, I wouldn't have gotten into the likes of Dragon Ball Z or Inuyasha. Hell, I probably wouldn't even gotten into cosplay or been into the anime community, with the likes of Comic-Cons and Anime North. Oh, right, I forgot we're under lockdown and everything's pretty much canceled for a year. Shit. Staying all day till the virus bums.
Daylight come, we don't want to be home.
Stuck inside as the convict comes.
Daylight come and we run from home.
But regardless, the show had a huge impact on the anime culture, and honestly, without it, I don't think it would be striving in North American audiences and around the world today. And funny enough, 30 years later, the show has actually breathed new life with a new generation of fans. And that's due to the rights being acquired by Viz Media, a company distributed by Warner Brothers that created a brand new dub of the original series, as well as dubbing the recent Sailor Moon Crystal. Not to mention finally releasing the series on Blu-ray in HD quality, and honestly, it looks pretty dang magnificent. Not to mention, Viz is also responsible for my all-time favorite series, Inuyasha, getting an English dub by Ocean Studios. Now granted, I am happy that the show is finally getting more of a cult following for the next generation. However, for 90s kids, it's a little different. When the show first aired in 1995, it was produced by DiC Entertainment and distributed by Buena Vista for the first 2 seasons. But come seasons 3 and 4, the rights were handed over to ADV and Pioneer Entertainment, and some of the original voice actors were actually recast. But the show was actually originally dubbed in my local areas of Ontario, most notably Mississauga, by tons of great Canadian voice actors, including Linda Ballantine, Susan Roman, Katie Griffin, Toby Proctor, Ron Rubin. Even YTV host Sugar provided the voice of Rini in seasons 3 and 4. So the fact that this show was dubbed by local voice actors actually made me look back more on my childhood at the fact that these scouts were fighting in my hometown. So yeah, I might be biased because the show was dubbed locally as well as being a big nostalgic part of my childhood. But the fact is, it is more of a memory if anything. With the recent acquisition by Viz Media and the new dub taking over home video marketing, it makes me question why the original DiC dub has never since gotten an official Blu-ray release. And talking to a lot of people in the Sailor Moon fan community, I've pretty much narrowed it down to a few things. First of all, talking with people at the Sailor Moon Celebration events, it's said that the original audio negatives of the English dub have since then been lost to time or have been completely destroyed. The other theory is that creator Naoko Takeuchi absolutely hates the original DiC dub and says it's a butchering to her original creation. Now, to be fair, I can agree, yes, it's not as faithful to the original source material. And that's due to the fact that North American television in the 90s were pretty heavy on censorship. For example, the majority of massive violent scenes in the show were completely cut out, tons of shots were photoshopped to include less sexual contact and nudity, and even Sailor Uranus and Neptune were switched from a lesbian couple to cousins.
Oh, look! Here come Amara and Michelle.
Oh, great. Why do you think they've entered the contest?
They're girls and cousins, too.
Look over there. It's Haruka and Michiru. Oh, wow.
Do you think they entered the contest too?
As a couple? Well, I have to say, they sure look perfect together.
Well, congratulations, North America. You've successfully chosen incest over same-sex couples. You guys will fit in so well with the Lannisters. Yeah, honestly, one of the few flaws with the DiC dub is that some of the characters actually got butchered in the English dub, including a few of the show's villains. For example, Zoi Said'S in the original Japanese version was actually a man, but they took his gender and made her a woman, giving a pretty fair depiction of a good relationship between her and Malachite. And honestly, looking back at Zoi Said'S death, it's still pretty emotional in the original dub.
Oh, the only one who failed was me, Malachite. You told me not to seek revenge, but I didn't listen. Promise. Just promise me one last thing, Malachite.
Anything.
Don't forget me.
I would never. Goodbye, my love.
I mean, hell, DiC and Pioneer didn't even dub Sailor Stars, the final season of the series, due to the subject matter involved. Although there was a fan dub online that actually did a pretty decent job recreating the look of the original DiC series. Although, to be fair, the Viz dub did dub Stars, so if you want to see the full story in its entirety and uncut, I'd actually recommend the Viz dub. There's also been a rumor going around that it's due to legal issues due to the dub being owned by a different company. Looking at you, Disney. Which is one of the reasons why Warner Brothers can't officially release it. Wait, would that technically make Sailor Moon and all the Sailor Scouts in the 90s official Disney princesses? Rumor about the DiC dub never being released is due to the fact that most people deny that it ever existed, which is complete bullshit, and not only that, completely bonkers. Of course it existed! Without this dub, the show wouldn't be as popular as it is today, so why the hell deny its original viewers' experiences? I know it's not accurate to the original source material, but a lot of 90s kids grew up with this dub, and honestly I feel like it should get released at some point. And it's not just me who wants this released, it's also a lot of the fans, including the original cast, who want their version released in high definition. It kinda reminds me of a certain creator of a popular sci-fi series that decided to change things up in 1997. Yeah, there we go. It seems to me that Viz and the creators, along with the new fans, have decided that the Viz dub is way better and have essentially George Lucas the original DiC dub.
I bet you have. McCleary.
Pretty much saying that it never existed and will never be released again, and that the special edition is way better. Now, to be fair, I did compare both the original dub and the Viz dub, and to see which one is better. And unfortunately, I may sound like an old frog, but I prefer the DiC dub. And there's a couple of reasons for it. It's not just the fact that I have my nostalgia goggles on, and the fact that I feel like the next generation should experience this version, but honestly, the acting is a lot better in this dub. Yeah, sure, the Viz dub is more accurate to the lore and actually has the proper names for certain characters and doesn't censor anything, but the DiC dub had so much acting effort put into it, it's kinda hard to compare. You look at the Viz dub and it's mostly very bland dialogue. Once again, comparing it to Star Wars, if the DiC dub is the original trilogy, then the Viz dub is more of the prequels when it comes to dialogue and acting. Don't believe me? Take a look at these comparisons.
Sorry. Don't think we'll be having a chocolate parfait.
Oh, please! We'll get a doctor, and everything will be all right. Netflix, hang on. I don't want you to go. Netflix, no, don't leave me.
I'm sorry. Don't think we'll be having chocolate parfait together.
No, you can't go. You're not getting away with this, understand? But I want you to give Jupiter back. Let's just give them the crystal. It's not worth it. Queen Barrel! Sailor Moon, you got the silver crystal right now! Let go! That crystal's why Mako died!
The acting is just so much stronger in the DiC dub, and that's mostly due to the fact that when the show first started, it gained a huge cultural following. And over time, as the voice actors recorded more and more episodes, they were absolutely dedicated to their craft in really making these characters come to life for their audiences. It especially doesn't help for people who grew up with the 90s dub having to get used to the Viz dub and the different names for every characters. Look, to me, Sailor Moon is Serena, not Usagi, Asagi. Oh god, don't make me think of that anime. Sailor Jupiter is Lita, not Makoto, which sounds like a coffee brand. Tuxedo Mask is Darien, not whatever his name is. And it also doesn't help that the voice actors in the Viz dub aren't really the best in terms of casting decisions for each character. I mean, there are a few exceptions here and there, but the new voice actress they got for Jupiter compared to the legendary Susan Roman is just not favorable for me. Also, Sailor Moon's voice in the Viz dub.
I hate you, you stupid...
Oh my god, and people say that the original 90s dub had an annoying voice. This is just taking it to a new fucking level. Yeah, no offense, fans, but I'll take the voice of Shrieky over this annoying mouse anytime. But hey, look, Johnny-On Bosch is in it as Artemis. Woo! He was the Black Ranger in Power Rangers, woo! Yeah, give me the crossover I've been waiting for, guys, then I might pay attention.
Stop squabbling.
Meh, at least he was good in Akira. God, that anime disturbed me. Sorry, Adam, you are in no way compared to the smooth cat Ron Rubin. Or Zack, for that matter. I'm sure all these voice actors have done better performances in other animes, but they're just completely miscast in this dub. On top of that, some of these voice actors are way too recognizable, and watching their version of the English dub, it can be a little distracting. And on top of that, compared to the DiC dub, it just doesn't sound right, especially without the original English soundtrack. And I don't know why they didn't even bother to bring in the original voice actors, but it would have been a great transition from the old ways of doing television with censorship to the new ways, which are completely uncut. Hell, it would give them time to improve and actually add more to their characters. But no, as Pennywise would always say,
"You're too old to stop me. You're all too old."
It's honestly just insulting to the original voice actors who made this show a classic. And nowadays, with dubbing anime, it's actually a lot easier to just get them all done in one go. And unfortunately, because of that, some dubs do ultimately suffer and don't have the amount of time and effort to put into making them absolutely special. There are a few examples, like Dragon Ball Super, that actually did take a while to dub into English, but nowadays you can get any anime instantly on streaming services and home video, and entire series are done in bulks of work and don't take as long as probably a week to do. So any attachment that the actors have to their characters ultimately make the acting kind of dull. I mean, yeah, the quality is better on the Blu-rays, but the audio not so much. This is one of those instances where I feel a despecialized edition of the show is in order. Since the original Star Wars trilogy has yet to be officially released in HD, which you know guys, George Lucas probably had it in his contract with Disney not to release the original unaltered versions. Fans have had to take matters into their own hands by taking several prints of the original theatrical versions and meshing them together in a Frankenstein compilation that creates the ultimate HD experience of Star Wars. I'd recommend the silver screen or grindhouse editions. They're honestly the best quality. I mean, hell, if Funimation can re-release the Rock the Dragon Ocean dub of the first 2 seasons of Dragon Ball Z, why not the DiC dub with Sailor Moon? And in that sense, it's actually a lot easier to do than going through an entire despecialized edition. All you have to do is take the original audio and sync it with the HD pictures, as well as making the transitions in HD. And maybe that's another reason Viz won't release it, is that converting HD transitions and editing it down to how it looked in 1995 seems kind of an impossible task. Not to mention re-editing the theme song with the HD footage and the PSAs at the end of every episode, at least in the first 2 seasons. Honestly, I don't think it's really that hard to do. Hell, some fans took the first 3 movies of Sailor Moon and converted the original DiC Pioneer dub with the HD remasters, and by God, it looks unbelievable! It's like seeing the 90s in HD quality. It's absolutely magnificent. So unfortunately, if you do want to experience the original DiC dub, your only option is to basically go on the internet. Yeah, I'm not one for online piracy in any sense of the word, but as long as you've purchased a copy of the show or movie, I don't see a problem with it. There are some options to find the original DiC dub, but it is still a challenge. I believe Hulu or a couple of other sites have the dub in their streaming services, but limited for how long. The only real true way to watch the original DiC dub is to purchase the original VHS releases, or believe it or not, there was a DVD release of the entire series, but you're probably going to be spending a few $1,000s just to get the entire series on DVD, since those releases have been out of print for almost 20 years.
I think I should be able to swing that. Huh? Oh no, I forgot I spent most of my cash at the video arcade.
So if you want to see the original source material uncut and a complete story, I would recommend the Viz dub. But if you want to watch it as it originally aired for North American audiences, you're gonna have to pay a pretty price, or unfortunately torrent the damn show. As much as I respect Viz for creating a complete uncut version of the story, because of my nostalgia goggles, I do prefer the DiC dub and admire its original 90s cheese factor, which is honestly quite charming. But honestly guys, as much as the Viz dub is the superior version in terms of the original source material, the DiC dub is honestly a little better. I know I sound like an old geezer or boomer for saying that, and if you like the Viz dub, more power to you. But for me, I just want to see my childhood in HD, and I feel like it's definitely doable. Even if you have to take online sources of audio and convert it to the HD remasters, I'm totally okay with it. It doesn't have to be 100% quality as long as I can hear and watch the damn thing. But either way, I'm honestly really happy to see the show still thriving after almost 30 years. Having started in the 90s and bringing in the old generation of fans as well as the new generation of fans, it's clear to see that Sailor Moon after 30 years is here to stay, and overall is one of the biggest influences and impacts in creating the anime genre we know today. So yeah, as much as I bitch and moan about it, I'm still in love with the original Sailor Moon DiC dub, and honestly I wish at some point these would come out in HD. Yeah, these are actually autographed by the entire cast of the DiC dub. But regardless, I want to know your thoughts on the Sailor Moon DiC dub. Do you prefer it or the Viz dub? Let me know in the comments section below. So until the next video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms, signing off.
Is not recommended.
Do it! Computer! Activate 100%!
100% has not been tested.
I don't care! Shut up and do it!
Second cause of overload.
I don't care! Let's up the ante! Do it! Damage report.
Overload caused by blown fuel ejection. Possible rebuild time. 1 month.
Shit. No matter how powerful I get, I can't get this glove to 100%.
Incoming call from the fourth planet of FDT Universe 919295.
Fourth planet? Patch it through.
Hey man, long time no see, am I right?
Princess? Forgive me, my lady. I hate for you to see me in such a bad state of affairs.
It's okay. How go the tests?
So far, tests have been unsuccessful. Anyway, any luck from Delta 18 on that diplomatic mission?
It goes well. The scouts are in on your request. Hopefully with this plan, we can see each other formally again.
I know. I do too. Until this war is over, we can't go back to that. For now, we still need to prepare.
Do you want me to contact Amy for technical support?
I could probably use the tech, honestly. Any I can muster up.
I'm on it. Take care of yourself, buddy.
Excellent. Tell them to prepare. Train well. Be ready for battle. Signing out.